Okay, hello, I am Squatch, and this is going to be my submission video for Summer Games Done Quick 2019. So, the run that I'm doing is Spyro the Dragon Reignited any percent. Now, any percent for this game is defined as getting from the beginning of the game to the end of the game and defeating Nasty Nork with the minimum requirements. That means 6,000 gems, 50 dragons, and 5 dragon eggs. Now, the run's actually really interesting in some ways. The movement is just constant, it's fast-paced, and it's really enjoyable to not only do, but also watch. The only unfortunate thing is load times are a little awful, and by a little awful, I mean really awful. The one downside of this game. So getting into the run, the first trick here is a cutscene skip. Normally, whenever you collect this dragon, there's a cutscene that you're forced to watch, but if you jump into the dragon, for some reason the game just lets you skip it. I don't know why. I wish I did know, but I have no clue. So this first world, Artisans, is not particularly exciting. I mean, the second stage that we do in Artisans has its moments, but for the most part, it's a fairly slow and boring world. Town Square, which is the second level here, has a proxy in it, so that's pretty cool. But as I said, nothing spectacular really happens. Which is a little unfortunate, but the rest of the game makes up for it. So I'm just going to go through this. There's not a lot to talk about, so I'm just going to kind of charge through the stage. Alright, and that was the stage that I can't remember the name of. Oh no. Yeah, that's Stonehill, that's what it's called. That's nothing really important or neat about that level. It's just charging mostly. So the idea for that stage, there is something to talk about. The idea for that stage is to collect about 48 to 50 gems. I say about because while yes, there is like a set like a gem route that you take, that's like the fastest way to collect 6,000 gems. It's very easy to miss some of those gems. So some people, you'll just have to just improvise on the fly. Which is actually one of the cooler things about this run is the constant improvisation that's going on. You know, people are always on their toes thinking, where can I go to next if I've missed a gem? You know, it's one of the neat things about this run. So, Town Square features the first and only proxy. It's called Fairy Proxy. It saves like 25-ish seconds, I want to say. 20 to 25. I'm going to focus on trying to get it. If I don't, it's not a huge deal. Oh, almost got it. Don't die. If you don't get it, it's not a huge deal, as said. You just kind of have to go through the rest of the level as you normally would. Just to give you an example of how the Fairy Proxy route works, you just kind of go around, and this is where you end the stage if you get Fairy Proxy. You know, you get Fairy Proxy, you land way up on that area. I'll show it off when I get there, just because it's hard to explain it. But basically, the area you land on top of has a dragon, and then like 20 gems that you collect, which is nice. The reason I'm not collecting that dragon egg from that thief is I just don't need it. This is where you're supposed to land when you get the proxy. And then you go down to that area. Let's see here, there we go. Okay, I want to make sure I collected that gem, I kind of need it. But then you just kind of come down to this area, and go back to where I was when I started. So we actually exit this level from the stage, or not the stage select menu. Just because whenever you're warping to a stage from the stage select menu, the game will spawn you at the original spawn point. So when we spawn ourselves at Artisans, the game will spawn us at the original spawn point, which is good because it's closer to the area that we want to be at, if that makes sense. Usually in the original Spyro, you just exit town square from the stage using exit stage, and then you do a glitch that just kind of takes you over here. But we don't have that, so we just kind of have to go that way.
Are you ready to go, Spyro?
And that is Artisans. As said, it's nothing crazy spectacular. Artisans is the dullest world in the game, by far. So... Okay, so this is Peacekeepers, the second world in the run. It features some interesting moments in it. It's honestly one of my favorite worlds to do, especially the first stage of the world, Dry Canyon. I don't know why, but the first, like, 10 or 15 seconds of that stage has really cool movement that it's nothing special either. To me, it's really cool. But yeah. Sorry if I don't talk a ton during, like, load times. There's not really a ton to talk about right now, mostly because I've already covered a large majority of it. Just kind of what you need to collect to beat the game. There is one thing that I will get into a little later in the second stage of this world, actually. That's about thieves, but thieves don't show up until then, so I'll more get into that when the time comes. So. I don't know why, but doing that little movement right there, to me, is just so cool. I don't know why, I just really like it. It's fun to just kind of do that. Okay. Also, a side note, not really about the game, but in my attempts to record a submission video, my capture card has just frozen up completely. I do not know why, it just kind of has done that. So if it does that, then I will pause the game, and I will take some time to unfreeze the video. I promise I'm not splicing. But yeah. My capture card has been having issues with that. I feel like I'm gonna say that, and then the one time that it doesn't happen is this submission video, but we'll see how it goes. Here's hoping. So the next stage we're going to is Clifftown. Now, Clifftown has some really interesting parts of it. The beginning of the stage is a bit of a pain, at least for me, just because there's like a little wraparound jump you have to do that takes you behind the starting area. I hate getting hit by these guys. Normally, I wouldn't mind those guys, and if I get hit, I just leave them alone. But one of them has a 5 gem, and typically you don't want to miss 5 gems. It's fine if you do, and I think I'm a little higher over gem count. Let's see here. I have a little list that says, you know, where you should be. Yeah, I'm a little over the gem count, so I'm doing fine. But it's always important to just make sure of certain things. Alright, so I'm going to pay attention to this because I don't like this part of the run. There we go. That jump, it's not hard, I'm just terrified of it. Yeah, I love this level, even in the speedrun, but there's certain parts of it that just make me so nervous to do. Like this part right here. So I'm just gonna... Okay, I don't like that part. It seems like way easier than I was making it sound, but yeah, the idea for that thief, seeing as it's actually the first dragon egg that we get, all thieves you want to kill while in the air. Now the reason you want to do that is whenever you kill a thief and you're standing on the ground, the game plays this animation sort of cutscene that's about 3 to 5 seconds long or so, every time. And since we're collecting about 5 of those, we want to figure out a way to skip that, because that's already about 25 seconds if it takes 5 seconds per cutscene. Now, the way we can skip those is if we're in the air when we flame or kill those thieves. It's a small little thing, but the time adds up after a while. So that was Clifftown. It went fairly well. I took my time on one part just because I didn't want to sit there for 2 minutes just trying to do that jump. So yeah, it's a neat stage. I like it, but it has its hard moments in it. The next stage is actually the very first flight level that shows up in the run, Night Flight. It's the most dull of all the flight levels, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just that the other flight levels have a lot of cool movement going on in them. Oops. There we go. So, a little bit of flight level stuff. Flight levels can go really fast. In order to really optimize them to their fullest, you want to make sure that you're flying as low as you can possibly be. The lower that Spyro is, the more speed he'll actually gain, which is something that, it's a really small thing, but it makes a huge difference. So hopefully I can do really well with that. I missed it. I don't know why it does it, but if you time it just right, there's a way you can, like, skip that animation where all of those, like the arch and the treasure chest and all those different things that you flamed kind of fly together. There's a way that you can just kind of have the game immediately show the menu on whether you want to retry or quit. I don't know how it works. It just typically, if you flame the last thing and then bring up the stage select menu, it just does it. Saves a little bit of time. Okay, so coming up is the second dragon egg. I'm going to try to do the same thing where I flame it in the air. Like that. So we have 3 more dragon eggs to get. One of them later on is a bit of a pain, but I'll see what I can do with it. So, this is Dr. Shemp, the first boss stage of the game, or some people like to call him Dr. Shrimp. We don't actually fight Dr. Shemp, we just kind of collect some gems and a dragon and then leave. It's nothing crazy. I think out of all of the boss stages in the run, yeah, we do like 3, like actual boss stages, and like beat the bosses. Just because there's one in particular towards endgame, Jacques I think is what it's called. It gives you a ton of gems. Like when you kill it or defeat it, whatever, it gives you 100 gems, I think. Nah, it's fine. I can leave those. And let's see here. There we go. It gives you about 100 gems, and then at the very end of the stage where, like, the portal home is, there's another, like, 75 to 100. So, especially since Jocks is the very final stage before the final world. So just that large amount of gems right there is a ton of help. So, I think we have one more stage in Peacekeepers. It's Ice Caverns. It has a really, really interesting part to it. I'm going to try to do it. If I die while doing it, then not a huge deal, but it's faster, and this is a speed run. I want to showcase the fast stuff. That's the point. So, we'll see what I can do. Ice Caverns is one of my favorite levels in this world. It's not like a super complex world. There are just like small things about it that I really enjoy. So, go ahead and focus on this. Okay, that's that part I was talking about, that kind of that fast movement that can be a little difficult. It's super easy to fall and die when doing those jumps. Oh, missed a gem there. That's not great. Okay, that was a little scary. I missed a few gems in this stage. Thankfully, it's not the biggest deal in the world, because I'm already a little ahead of the gem count, just because I ended up having to collect a few extra in Town Square earlier, so could have been far worse. So yeah, that's the end of Artisan, or not Artisan, Peacekeepers. Wow, the name's even right at the top of the screen, and couldn't notice that. That's the end of Peacekeepers. There's one other thing we're gonna do real quick, just collect this dragon, some more gems, and then leave. The next world, Magic Crafters. Really, really cool world. Really, really hard world.
Magic Crafters world if you're ready.
Oh, the glitch happened, yay. So I don't think the game devs actually planned for this. Oh no, it didn't happen. Okay, that's good. It recenters Spyro, I guess. Sometimes whenever you enter the balloon, oh no, it definitely did it actually. Whenever you enter the balloon or talk to the balloonist while standing like at a weird angle, for some reason the game will just put you in to the balloon carrier, like sideways sometimes, and like part of Spyro can just stick out of that carrier. It's very weird, and it'll spawn, like it'll drop you into the world in really weird ways. Like normally it's supposed to just drop you straight, like a straight angle, but here it's just kind of turning me a little bit. God, I hate that. Okay, so I'm gonna pay attention here because there's a dragon egg I need to get. There we go. That dragon egg is a little difficult to get. It's not like the worst thing ever if you miss it. You just have to kind of go back for it, and that wastes a bit of time. Plus, it just looks cool if you can get it like that. That's a hard dragon egg to get, but it looks pretty cool. Okay, so this is the first stage of Magic Crafters. It's Alpine Ridge. This is a fairly long stage. It's very easy to make a few mistakes here and there. Hopefully I don't, but if I do, not the worst thing. I know I'm saying not the worst thing, God knows how many times, but I'm just trying to point out that there are things that can go wrong. Obviously, I mean, it's a speed run. If something can go wrong, it will go wrong. I didn't get that. Sometimes if you enter the stage in a certain way, the game will just... That's not great. Okay. As said, things can go wrong. If you enter the stage in a certain way, when Spyro, like, swoops down, he'll actually, like, collect that 2 gem that was sitting over there in the back. Not crazy important, just a small little thing. Let's try that one more time. There we go. I want that gem. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I'm just... This is just meant to be a submission video. It's not meant to be like a PB attempt or anything like that. So if certain things... Like if I take a death or two, I'm not going to stress over it too much. Okay, this is... I really want that. I'm not going to stress over it too much. Just because I'm not trying to do anything fancy. I'm just trying to showcase, you know, what certain parts of the run look like. Sort of movement that's available. I'm just trying to showcase that sort of stuff. So if I die, I'm not going to really worry about it too much. So that's the end of Alpine Ridge. It's not amazing. That wasn't very fantastic showcasing of Alpine Ridge. It's a neat stage though. It has its moments where it can be a little difficult to get through, but it's certainly one of the cooler levels in my opinion. Has some really neat moments in it. My favorite level in this run, though, is Wizard Peaks, which is, I think, like the 3rd or 4th level in the world. It just has some really cool moments in it. I was hoping to hold out dying until then, just because there's an intentional death you actually have to take. I don't know if you have to take it, but you end up taking it in the run. It just saves time. But that's not a huge deal. So High Caves is an interesting level, actually. There's one trick, it's at the end of the level, but it involves using one of those boost ramps to just speed your way through the rest of the level. It can be really hard to do that part of the level perfectly, but I'm gonna try it. If I don't get it, I don't get it, but if I do, then it'll look really, really cool. I'm gonna try to take part of this beginning area slowly, just because there are these enemies here that will like shoot tornadoes at you. And if they hit you, then you'll get sent flying in the air for a little bit, and there's this long, drawn-out animation that plays whenever that happens. So, thankfully nothing went wrong with that. It's super easy to get hit by those, though. So this area is kind of dumb. It's very easy to fall off these platforms or just miss. There we go. Hard part of the stage is over with. So we want to collect every single gem in this room. Like, if it doesn't matter if you miss it or not. It's super important. All of these gems are either worth 25 or 10, and that's a large value. Like, those are gems you do not want to miss. I mean, I'm sure you can make it up, but it would be a pain. Alright, so here's the boost ramp. Let's see if I can do this. Alright, I messed up. The idea is to wrap around, hit those 2 10-gem crates that were way back there, and then come over here, run through all of those, like, firework crates, and then make your way over there. It looks really cool and it's really fast, but it's really, really hard to do it. I haven't practiced it enough, but I've only managed to do it, like, 1 different time. It was still, I did pretty well for it, though. So I'll take it. I'll certainly take what I can get. So I believe the next stage coming up is Wizard Peaks, but we'll see here. So there's actually a part right here I'm going to try to do. I'll talk about it if I can do it. I messed up. The idea is when you're boosting through that area, you want to try to hit that metal chest that has those gems in it, while at the same time doing like a reach around that like rock that was standing in the way. Just because if you do that, then you're gonna maintain that speed rather than bonking into it and wasting time. Just a small little thing. Okay, so Wizard Peaks. The beginning is just gem collecting. There are a bunch of these enemies that have a ton of gems. I don't know why, but there's an enemy there. That I guess its hitbox is still active, even though it hasn't spawned in fully yet. So if you just like flame that area, you'll collect the gems from the enemy. It's so weird, and I don't know why it happens. So here I don't want to say anything yet because I could very well mess this up. But let's see. Collect those gems. Okay, so this is where we take that intentional death. There we go. I tried to jump into that thief just to skip the animation. We take that death and it just spawns us back where we collected that dragon. Now this is another interesting trick we do with the speed ramp. It's also pretty difficult to get down, but we'll see what I can do. I missed it. You have to take some really sharp jumps in order to do it, but essentially you use the boost ramp and take it like all the way through here. If you can do it, it looks super cool. If not, then no, just charge your way through. So here's the fifth and I believe final thief that we end up collecting here. Just do that. That one's the easiest thief to collect in my opinion. There's nothing hard about it. And that was Wizard Peaks. I'm really happy that stage didn't give me as much trouble as I was expecting it to. So the next stage is the next flight stage. It's Crystal Flights. I am bad at it. I'm gonna try to take the really cool, fast way through it. If I don't, like, perfect it, not a huge deal. But yeah, I'm really bad at it. It's very easy for certain things in the level to just get in your way as you're trying to go through the stage. Like there's an arch that you fly through right at the beginning, but you have to stop and sort of jump up and like fly again. But for some reason, when you go through that arch, it like breaks apart, and Spyro can just get stuck on it. That's like a minor thing. All right, let's see if I can do this. I would say more, but okay, there we go. That's not what I meant to do. That's gonna waste some time. Okay, I messed up plane there. The idea is that you want to hit all of those planes in rapid succession. I missed one, which isn't a big deal. Depending on which plane that was and the pattern of it, I may go back for it in this different way. You know, I might go back for it while going for a chest, or while going for the next arch up here. You know, it all depends on where it is, really. Okay. So I'm gonna actually go this way first. Yeah, so because it ended up coming out that way, I can just kind of improv based on that. And that's Crystal Flights. That that level can, you know, cause some trouble, but thankfully it went well. Alright, so the next stage of Magic Crafters is Blowhard. It is the boss fight of this world. It's not particularly special. Some enemies can kind of easily damage you or kill you, and that kind of sucks, but I'll do my best to work on avoiding them. It's mostly these guys. Those wizard things that shoot lightning at you. Those enemies always get in my way. So for this stage, we actually end up collecting almost every gem. I think there's like 2 we don't get. So I think by the end we want to end up with 298 gems from the stage. About that anyway. Come on. Okay. That's what I mean. Those guys can just easily hit you and ruin the run. It's awful. Oh lord. Come on. Come on, really? Oh, so I missed a 10 gem. I'm gonna end up going back here to get that 10 gem. There it is. As said, typically if there's a gem of value 10, darn it. Yeah, it's easy to die here, but if there's a gem that's a value of 10, then typically you want to go back for it, as I think I mentioned earlier. So yeah, as said, if I die, I'm not gonna really stress over it too much. I mean, as said, I'm not trying to go for a PB attempt here. I'm just trying to showcase what some of this run looks like. So, not too worried about deaths, unless they're game overs. That's not a fun time. I do not know why that happens. Sometimes whenever, like, if you die over there, for some reason, that phase of Blowhard will already count as dead, I guess. Like, when you flame it, it won't give you any gems. I don't know why. Come on. There we go. It's really weird. That's not what I wanted to do. Oops. Okay, that was a death. That's fine. I'm not worried about that. Dying is super easy and super common in this run. You're constantly trying to go as fast as you can, and sometimes it's a little hard to prevent falling through holes or, you know, just getting hit by enemies or falling off the stage. Yeah. Alright, so that was the last stage of Magic Crafters. So now we're going to Beast Makers, the second to last, well, technically, second to last, third to last, I don't know. Depends on what you're considering the final world. Because we have Beast Makers, and then we have the other one that I can't remember the name of, and then we have Nork's World. I don't really consider Nork's World really a world, but I don't know. Just because it's like the final bit of the game, I guess. Beast Makers is one of the hardest worlds in the game. I'd go as far as to say it's the hardest world in the game. There are a lot of stages that can give you a really, really, really hard time. Specifically Misty Bog, which is the third level in the world that we go through. This level, Terrace Village, has its moments of difficulty, but Misty Bog certainly ramps things up a lot, and it can give you a really, really hard time. I don't know how other runners of the game feel about that, but I'd certainly go as far as to say Misty Bog is one of the harder stages in the run. In order to do like the fastest route, you have to have a minimum of blue sparks. You really want to have gold sparks, but because there's a damage boost you do, and you end up taking 2 hits. So just to survive it, you have to have blue sparks. Thankfully, there is like a chicken that you can flame to get some health out of right at the beginning, so you have a bit of leeway with that. This is the part of Terrace Village that I hate. You flame that rocket, come over here, get those gems, and then there's this jump that you have to do. And that jump is another one of those things that really scares me, just because it's super easy to miss it. Here we go. So here I might actually have to wait a little bit, just because these guys will like throw down their little electric stick, and it will damage you. So, gotta be a little safe with that. I'm gonna go ahead and collect that chicken. I don't really need it, I want to be really safe here. As said, this world is really scary. Alright. So that was Terrace Village. The next level is, the next flight level, actually. I believe it's called Wild Flight. Sounds about right. Alright, I want to see how well I'm doing in terms of gems. Oh, I'm actually a little far behind. Oh, that's not fantastic. I missed like 15 gems in there. I'll figure out a way to make them up later. As said, that's one of the cool things about running Spyro, is that you're constantly thinking about, you know, where can I find some backup gems if needed, or, you know, what could I do, what did I miss, you know, how many gems did I miss. It's constant thinking about those sorts of things. So okay, yeah, I can't miss that gem. I already missed several back there in not Misty Bog, Terrace Village. So, kind of need all of those. Alright. So, Wild Flight is, in my opinion, the coolest flight level. Especially right at the beginning. It can be a little difficult to get parts of it down, but in my opinion, it's just the best flight level. So, I'll see if I can pull this off. I missed that. That's fine. It's really the beginning of that stage that I want to get down. Oh, and I missed that too. Oh, and I missed that as well. Oh, that's not great. Why did that happen? No. Ugh, I accidentally hit triangle. That's not fantastic. Okay. Not a huge deal though. I can manage. I can work with that. That's okay. That was what I meant when I was talking about one of the earlier flight stages. When you're doing this, it's like when you fly through those arches, they break apart, and Spyro will end up getting caught on some of the geometry of those arches. I don't know why. He just kind of does. It gets a little unfortunate, but you know, it all comes down to how you manage to work around that. I am just missing everything today. So I'll have to go back and sort of loop around here because I missed a dragon, or not a dragon, a boat rider guy. I wanted to kill all of those boat riders sort of. Oh wait, there it is. I'm just gonna go this way. I wanted to kill all of them like as soon as possible, like while going through this area, but I missed one of them. So a little unfortunate. Oh, I've taken way more deaths than I thought I would here. Yeah. So I'm gonna talk about Misty Bog, which is the next stage coming up. I'm gonna do it a little slower than normal, just because I don't want to die again. I don't want to lose that much time. But essentially, I'm gonna collect some gems like right at the beginning, and then do a damage boost all the way to the other end of the stage. The reason I'm gonna take it slow is because on that other end, there are 4 enemies. There are 2, I don't know what they're called, but they're like armored up guys with machetes, and they swing at you, and they're awful. And then there are 2 of those like boars. They will charge at you, and they will hit you. Now, I'll still be alive even if I get hit, but I'll be at red, meaning that sparks won't help me collect gems, meaning it will be much riskier to go through, and a lot harder, and a lot slower. So, here's the damage boost. There we go. That's what I mean. So, that can happen. It's super common. It's easy to die as well, because since you're at red, it's just, if you get hit by one enemy, you're dead. Along with that, I also have to directly run into every gem I try to collect. If I don't, I will miss them, and I will not get them. So, one of the unfortunate things about this stage is that that's super common. And super easy to have happen. And there isn't really any backup health you can get anywhere, that I know of anyway. So, it's a very risky stage to go through. Thankfully, it isn't crazy long. Oops. And then there's this jump. This jump's also a little scary. Those enemies are also really scary to go through, because they can, like, spit their tongues out at you, and they'll hit you, and they'll deal a lot of damage. Okay, that's the scary part's over. I'm gonna take my time through here, because these tree enemies can just run into you and kill you instantly. I don't like it. This next area is also a little scary, with this, like, boar running around. Get away from me. Okay, there we go. So yeah. As said, I'm gonna take my time through the stage, a lot more than usual. Just because there's so much that can go wrong. Like, one minor slip up and you're dead. Which is both a downside and also really cool. Just as you really have to be on your toes at all times. And look at that, I made it through without dying. That's a first for me. Anytime I'm at red health on that level, I die. Every time. So that's really cool that I made it through that without a death. Yeah, as said, that's one of the scarier stages. It obviously comes down to practice, just so you know what to do, when to do it, and all that stuff. But even with practice, it's still scary. So I'm out of health completely. But thankfully, right before the entrance to the next stage, Treetops, there is a chicken that you can kill right here. And so now I have health, so now I can actually collect some gems. Okay, so Treetops. This is a really interesting stage. It features a jump called Curl Jump. There are sort of 2 methods to the jump, so to speak. There's one where you just take a boost ramp and ride it out all the way to the area we want to get to. Or you can do the curl jump, which is just a faster way. It's not a faster way, but another method. It's a little slower, I think, than just using that boost ramp and riding it the entire way out. But using that boost ramp is really hard. I'm going to go for both methods. If I don't get just riding the boost ramp all the way out, not a huge deal, because I know how to, like, back that up, really. So here, this isn't curl jump, and here's the first bit of a jump. I'm gonna try to beat this thief over to where he usually goes to. Okay, and then when I stand here, when he gets here, I want to flame him. Did I hit him? Oh, I didn't. Maybe I did. I don't know. I can't tell if I hit him or not. The idea is, though, is that you want to beat the thief all the way over here. I didn't beat him. That's fine. Or I didn't hit him. But you want to beat him all the way over here, and that way you can just kind of flame him instantly without having to chase him around. It's a minor thing, but it's really cool. Oh, I did miss a frame. Now this area, I'm going to try to go through this area and, like, hit this chest over here. There we go. Hitting that chest just skips an animation. So, I'm actually pretty happy I got that. It's super easy to miss that chest or, like, bonk on the wall. Alright, so here's the ramp you would boost off of and ride out. Let's see if I can do this. I missed it. Because you also want to collect these gems over here. So. Alright, so here's curl jump. Let's see if I can pull this off with ease. There we go. That's curl jump. It's pretty scary, actually. It's if you're a little too over to one side, you know, and you do the jump, you'll just miss. Like if you do the jump and you try to make the turnaround, you'll just miss the ramp altogether and you'll fall and die. You know, if you're going too slow when you try to do the jump, you'll just end up down here, which is also slow. So there are a lot of things that can go wrong with curl jump. Nothing went horribly wrong, though, so I'll take that. I certainly will take that. So, the next stage is actually Metalhead, which is the boss stage for this world, and the final stage we actually go to in this world. And then we're off to the, I guess, second to final world, where we only do 2 stages. We do a flight stage, Icy Flight, and then we do the boss, Jacques. And then after that, we're in Nasty's world. Now, Nasty's world has some really interesting parts in it. I'm going to try to go through them the really, really fast way. The first stage has a jump that I am personally really, really bad at, but I seem to be the only one that's bad at it. I'm going to give it a shot. If I don't get it, I don't know. And then the second stage also features another really cool jump, which isn't as difficult in my opinion, but either way, they both look really, really cool. So this is one of the slower stages, I'd say, in the run. There's a lot of going out of your way and getting hit, apparently. Well, there's a lot of going out of your way to collect certain gems in some areas. Like going over here. There are a lot of gems over here, but it's a much more out-of-the-way area. But it is worth it because there are a ton of gems back here. And then we want that key. For the longest time, when I first started running this game, I would always get to the final world, and I would always be like 30 gems short. And I thought I was following the gem route exactly. And then I ended up watching a video and looking through the notes, and it said, you know, collect the key for the chest. And I was like, what key is it talking about? And then I finally realized that, oh, there's a key way back there that that opens up a chest that gives you a ton of gems. So for the first like month of me running this game, I never realized that I was missing out on, you know, 25 or 30 gems from like one small area. And that makes 50. So that's sort of, I say sort of for a reason, that's sort of the last dragon we're going to collect. I had mentioned it earlier, but in order to actually like beat the game, you have to collect an extra dragon at the beginning of Nork's world, or else it won't open up one of the stages. I don't know why, they just kind of made it like that. So, yeah, we end up having to collect 51 dragons total. So this was the chest that I just completely missed out on. As you can see, that's actually a really large amount of gems to just miss. Nuts. Oh, alright. Oh my god. Really? There we go. Okay. That took a little longer than expected. I want to collect all of those gems for obvious. I mean, that's a lot of gems right there. So really, that's Metalhead stage. There are still a few areas I have to go through here and collect some extra gems. And possibly bonk a bunch. I mean, it's a Spyro game. Why would you not want to do that? So that's Metalhead. Now, before I actually leave Beastmakers, I'm going to run around and collect a few more gems. Not a ton, just a few more. To prepare for the final bit of the game. So, God, I am quite low on gems, actually. That's not great. Alright, yeah, okay. I was trying to map out in my head where I could go and what I could make up for those gems. Typically, I end up getting a few more gems than necessary in Jacques' stage, just to, like, as a safety net, so I can probably go there and be fine. There we go. Yeah, there he is. I wanted to make sure I got that butterfly. I'm a little lower on health than I would like to be, so that's Beastmakers. So, Dreamweavers, that's what this world is called. Could not remember for the life of me. So, Dreamweavers is a really short world. We do 2 stages, as said, Icy Flight and then Jacques. Now, by the end of this world, we have to have 6,000 gems. We've met every minimum requirement up to this point. Now we just have to get 6,000 total gems, and we are home free to Nork's world. Now, the hard part about this is knowing exactly how many gems you need to get, and where you should, because as said, there's a gem route you can follow. But if you're like me and you're a little far behind on gems, you sort of have to map out, you know, where can I go to make all of these gems up? Because I'm fairly far behind, I think. I'm like 35 gems behind right now, because I missed a bunch of these, like, 5 gems. I think I missed another one, didn't I? Let me make sure. No, I didn't. Alright. I'm trying to be really safe here. But as said, I missed that 5 gem, and because I missed that 5 gem, some issues came up. Okay, so I also want to collect these gems. It's possible to charge through them before that cannon fires at them and makes them big, but I unfortunately missed that, so. Alright, so I'm not going to collect this dragon, but I'm not going to take that pad up there, the one that, like, gives you a bunch of height. Instead, I'm just going to jump, because you can just jump and make that. What would be fast? This is probably the faster way to go. You have to rotate this cannon around. There it goes. And hit both those enemies to make them small, just so you can actually get past this area. And they give you a lot of gems, so. The hitboxes for those guys is huge. Like, the hitboxes for those enemies is absolutely massive. I do not know why. I mean, I guess it's because they run around really fast, but, I mean, it's... Come on. In Jacques' stage, there's actually... You have to hit some of those to raise up some platforms. If one of those enemies is in front of those platforms, if you try to, like, charge jump off of it, then the enemy will just hit you. And those platforms get raised higher than the enemies are. So, like, that platform is much taller. But if you try to charge jump, for some reason, you'll bonk against the enemy. And I do not know why. Alright, so this is Icy Flight. This is a pretty neat stage. It's another one of those things that's super easy to mess up. I'm going to try really hard, though. See if I can pull this off. Okay. Thought I was going to miss that. That's not great. So the reason, if it weren't already obvious, the reason we do these flight levels is because after finishing them, you get like 300 gems each time. And they're not crazy long either, so it's just a really useful way to pick up a ton of gems in a really short amount of time. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I was going to try and run back and hit that train, but oh, I'm missing a lot of these trains. I think it's probably just better to miss them. Why are these cycles so off? This is very weird. I think it's because I ended up sort of missing the tower in sort of a weird way. So I'm going to have to go through this way. I'm going through this tunnel because the trains are coming in my direction by going this way. So it's faster than taking the other way because you're trying to chase them down in that way. So that was Icy Flight. Now we have Jacques. So as you can see here, I need to collect a total of 401 gems. Now, if you're wondering how on earth am I going to collect 401 gems in a single stage, I'm not sure. I'm going to run around and... Actually, I don't need to collect 401. I lied. I need to collect, what, 384? And the reason I say that is because I'm getting 15 gems right here. So, 384 gems. Which can be done. 380, that's wrong. 386 gems. That's what it is. That can be done. By the end of the stage, there's actually like 200 gems alone that you get. So, there's a pretty large amount right there. I'm going to go ahead and collect these, though. How did I get hit by you? Why won't you die? Thank you. That made me nervous. Yeah, these guys, like, if I tried to charge jump off of this as it's raised to its high, or, like, height, and I tried to charge jump while facing that enemy, it will bonk me. Like, I'll just bonk against it, and I do not know why. That's not great. There we go. Nice. There we go. Okay. So we're approaching Jacques. Bunch of gems right here. Will I? Oh god, will I have enough gems? Yeah, I should have enough. I think I was careful enough there. Alright. 363. Alright, so I'm a little short, which is a little unfortunate. Trying to think of where I can make up for that. Okay, I have an idea. It sort of sucks that I'm a little short, but I can make up for that pretty easily. As said, I ended up missing several gems throughout the run, just trying to kind of go a little faster, but as you can see, not always a great thing. So I've already collected the gems from those guys. Doesn't matter really. There's a bunch of gems way over here that I want to go for. Let's see. This gem right here. How much do I have now? 6,003. So we're good. Alright, there we go. That took a little longer than expected. But now we're going to Nasty's world. Final bit of the game. So, Nasty's world consists of 3 levels that we go to. There are technically 4. But the 4th one is only for 120%. So the first level, I think it's called Nork's Cove or something like that. I'm going to sort of take a different route through it just because there's a specific jump that's a little hard to get. Now, you know what? I'll go for it. I'll go for it. If I mess it up, then I'll just take the slow way. Because this is a speedrun. We want to go fast. So, this is the dragon we're forced to collect. If we don't collect that dragon, then Twilight Hollow will not open. Like, it just straight up won't open. So we'll see what I can do here. So we go this way, and this is where the jump is. So there we go. I got it. That's cool. That jump can be really terrifying. I'm going to go ahead and collect that butterfly there. For safety purposes. Well, there it goes. I collected the butterfly, and then I lost it right then and there. So I'm going to continue to be a little safer through here. There's a damage boost I'm going to do, and I want to make sure that I have like the right amount of health to do it. That's not what I meant to do. So take care of that. You're dead. All right, there we go. So we're good now. So the damage boost, normally you have to go underneath this area and just go out of your way and come up here, but we can just damage boost and enter the portal. So in order to open up each world, or each level in this world, you have to go around and enter the portal to each level. It doesn't work if you just exit stage and return home. No, you have to hit the portal, and that sets a flag saying that you've beaten the stage. So you're kind of forced to do that. So this is Twilight Harbor. I thought it was Twilight Hollow. Oops. Twilight Harbor. This stage features a jump I really like doing, but it can be a little difficult to get. I'm obviously going to go for it. It would be silly of me to not. But yeah. The difficult part about this stage is that there are these enemies that have these little paint guns. I think in the original game it was like an actual gun. But Toys for Bob decided to not have that. But these enemies shoot paint around, and if they hit you, they have an insane amount of knockback, and oftentimes it will lead to you dying. Which sucks. Yeah, like, if you get hit by those, you're sent flying. So, normally I wouldn't collect this dragon, but it just makes the jump a lot easier. So, I'm going to come up on the speed ramp, and let's see if I can pull this off. First try, let's go. Ah, that feels rewarding to get. That jump is so scary. So after that, now we're moving on to Nasty Nork. His level consists of, I guess, 4 parts technically, really. The first part is collecting a key from a thief, and then you have to collect another key. I guess that's technically one part. So yeah, the first part is just collecting keys from thieves in order to unlock an area that allows you to chase Nasty Nork. And then you have to chase Nasty Nork around an area, flame him once, and then go through another area as the third stage. And then after you catch up to him and flame him, he dies, and that's the end of the run. So we'll see what I can do. Typically, you want to flame the thieves as early as possible, obviously. The first one you want to get like at the first corner of where it is, which I'm really bad at explaining it, but you'll know what I mean. Right there is where you want to flame that thief. And then you come over here, unlock this door, and then there's another thief. Now, flaming him at this first corner is really hard, just because it's consistent. I like to get him right there. Just because it's fairly easy to flame him right there. So after you collect those 2 keys, you run over here, unlock this, and then chase Nasty Nork. Rather than chasing him down that ramp, it's faster, because he ends up gaining a ton of speed if you jump that way. It's just a little faster. And he comes up here, flame him. That's the first part. and runs over. So, obviously, there were a lot of mistakes there. That wasn't the greatest run of Spyro that's ever been done. But yeah, that's the Spyro the Dragon Reignited any percent run. That is a mouthful. I didn't have as much time to practice this run as I would have liked to have had, so obviously things weren't as consistent and they didn't flow as well as they would have liked. But that's sort of a basic idea of what the run is like. It's very fast-paced. There are very few times where you're not doing things. And it's just, overall, it's just a really, really interesting run. And personally, I think it would be a really cool addition to have in an SGDQ or in a GDQ in general. It's fresh, it's new. A lot of people seem to really love it and enjoy it. So why not? And it would even be really cool as a race sort of thing. So yeah, this is my submission video, and thank you for watching.